Okay, so if I want to create a table, orders,
Okay.
what will I do? Create table and then table name, right? Orders. It
Yeah.
will be table name, right? So if I want
Yes.
to create a sequence, then it will be sequence. I mean, we have already seen if I want to create a view, then view and then view name, right?
Yes. Yes.
Same going to be create sequence and then sequence name, and the sequence name we can use the orders table because it's the table, and we will show id, right? Id and seq for the sequence. Cool. And
Yes.
over here we can now add the data for the what we want in the sequence.
See.
We want it to be updated by 50, right?
Yes.
So we want increment by 50. Cool. And we
Okay.
don't write commas, right, in this. Then if I want, and what value I want to start with, I want to start with, let's suppose 100, right? Then I will get
Yes.
100. Okay, so now I'm saying that start with 100, and then minimum value should be 100, and the max value should be,
150.
let's take 2000. Cool.
Okay.
50 increment, let's take max value to be 1000 only. Cool.
Okay.
And we'll see why we are doing this, right? And cache
Mm.
means it will store the data it will store the data into the buffer, right? Because there is
Okay.
no external cache, not in the fixed memory. So what it will do, the next values that it's going to provide you, it will store the data into the cache, and it will directly access the cache and provide you the data. So let's say
Okay.
that next 10 data you will provide us is stored in the cache, right? And no cycle.
Okay.
No cycle means that if I reach the max value, what should I need to
Okay.
do then, right? In the normal case there should be an error, right? But
Yeah.
in no cycle, there won't be an error. It will start from zero again. I mean, from the one
Okay.
value again, right? So we have created a sequence, right? So if we check our system, that we have a sequence, right? And this is
Yes.
the sequence name. Then if I do say describe, this is the data that I mentioned, right?
Yes.
So if now how we operate, right? In the Hibernate, this thing we need to increment value, we need to mention add on the annotation part only, right? So we
Okay.
know that this value I will get, right? That the range I have is of 50. I have that
Okay.
data in my Hibernate. So the value that I will get, how will I get the value? If I say, first of all, if I say current value, CURREL, current value, and then sequence name. What's the sequence name? This is the sequence name, okay. But it's saying the current value is not yet defined, right, in this session,
Yes.
because I haven't added anything, right? So
Yes.
instead of asking the value, I'm saying next value, right? Instead of
Mm.
current value, I'm saying next value please provide. So I get 100. Okay,
Um,
so the minimum value is 100, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Minimum value is 100, that's why. And I start also with 100 is, so that's why I get 100, right?
Yes.
So if I again say, and now I know that I have the range of 100, right? And 50 increment is of 50.
Mm.
Let me again do the next value, then I get 150, right? So that
Yes.
means when I get the 100 in the Hibernate rendition, I have that next 50 values I can use, right? Then it
Yes.
becomes a range, right?
Mm.
Because the minimum value that instead of 1, right now I get 150,
Right.
100, right? And from this 100 value it provided me, and I know that okay, next 50 values, the range is of next 50 values, so I can use this thing, right? So
Yes.
minus 1, the reason for minus 1 is from 100 to 149, the total count
50.
will be 100, right?
Yes.
50,
Yes.
sorry, my bad, 50.
50.
And in the next time when I try to get the value, then it will be 150, right? So it
Yes.
will be from 150 to, and then I can just normally add 49 over it, right?
Yes.
If I want to include that 150, if I don't want to include, if I want to do just plus 1, then it will be from automatically 151 to 200, right? So it
Yes.
depends on the how you trying to implement it, right? And we
Okay.
don't have to do it because we are not manually doing it. Hibernate will do it internally. We are just saying how internally Hibernate works, right? It's not
Okay.
like you have to do it. but it's just you will know when we do the Hibernate, you will know how they are doing. You don't have to go and Google it when your manager asks you, right? So that's the thing. This, and then if I say that okay, select current value, right, and then the name of the sequence, then I will get 150 only. Cool. So two methods I have. One method says okay, give me the incremental value. If I say next value, current value is 150, right?
Yes.
It will try to fetch the current value and then add the incremented value. Let me do it for you as well. Select and select current value, right, and this, all right, and plus increment is 50, right?
Yes.
So 50. If I try to run this, 200 I get, right?
Yeah.
And same thing will be written if I now directly do select next value. Same thing result will be returned 200, right?
Yes.
So this is the internal query that it is using, and at no point to guess, right? It's way too basic, right? 50 is here, increment value we are saying.
Yes.
So this is how the sequence work, right? Understanding?
Mm.
Now this thing
Yes.
we can do it with a table as well, right? But for the table, to create the table, and let me show you one more thing, right? We just trying to see this thing, right? So if I try to describe this, the difference between a table and this, if I try to describe this, you will get these data, right, that we have inserted while creating it. But
Okay.
while if I'll do select asterisk from public and then the sequence, right, I will get this data.
Mm.
Okay, and let's see how it changes with, I'm asking for next value, right? If
Mm.
I ask for the next value, I get the next
So,
value to be 50, right?
yes.
And is anything changed over here? No log count has changed, right? No t is changed, no the last value has changed, right? Okay, we have to see one more thing. Okay, I will keep on doing the no value as well. If I do the current value, then also the data that it has over here, the last value count and log count and is called, it is just for the maintenance of it, right? How much time it has, I mean how many database use it internally for its use, right? We are just
Mm.
going to, because the reason is there are multiple layers. First thing is we are not inserting data in this, right? Another thing
Yes.
is we are not doing this thing, the get value current value, we are not going to do this, right? Hibernate will be
Yeah.
responsible to doing this kind of task, right? So
Yes.
now there is one more thing. Okay, there was a range, right? Next value, there was a range, right? 1000 is the range, right?
1000 is the maximum value.
Okay, let's just check it. 1000 we have achieved, right?
Yes.
Over here right now it's on 1000. So what will happen now? Error, right?
Well, reach maximum value of sequence orders.
if
1000.
it if it was, if it was a cycle, we mentioned no cycle, right? If we
Yeah.
mentioned it to use a cycle, then what would have happened? It would have started from again 100, right?
Yes.
That's how
Yes.
it
Yes.
works. All right, cool. So our sequence is done. We will see its use case in the Hibernate. So we are learning the we are learning this entire thing just to make sure we are good with the Hibernate, right? Because otherwise manually very less things we do usually. Okay, my bad.
Okay.
Just give me one more second. I was feeding my cat. All right,
Okay.
done. Task done, and all right. So the thing that we have used till now, a sequence will be done by Hibernate only. Constraint we need to add manually. We can let
Okay.
Hibernate know that okay, these are the constraints, but we will add into database the constraint on our own. First thing, the subqueries we execute using terminal or the whatever software you are using, dbeaver, pgadmin, or anything, MySQL workbench, and subqueries join, those things we just directly run the query, right? But this thing,
Yeah.
sequence is the one thing that Hibernate will take care of itself, but we need to know the intervals, right? The another thing
Yes.
is that we'll see today is trigger and procedures versus function, right?
Yeah.
So these things are not used right now, right? They will never be asked in the interview question as well, because it's
Okay.
almost obsolete. But the thing is, we
Mm.
should know how it exists if we get our hands on some legacy code, right?
Okay.
So if you see it working, then you will have some confidence and you will try to learn them, right? I'm not going
Yes.
to teach you how to write a function or procedure, since nobody is using them in today's era. But just for the sake, I will try to show it how we create it and run it, so that it will be helpful for you if you try to learn it in future, if ever you get into the legacy code. Cool. So let's see our Swiggy table. Okay, we have these tables, right? First of all, how will I check whether I have a triggers or not, right? So in
Mm.
Postgres, I'm just talking about Postgres. I don't know about other database right now. But for
Okay.
Postgres, if I want to know the indexes, right? So there
Mm.
is pg for Postgres underscore, and then I can just write if I want to know about the index. Okay, my bad. Count asterisk, right? So count asterisk. So pg indexes, to know about the indexes, right? You can remove the count from this aggregate function and you will get all the data, right? Similarly, if I
Yes.
want to know about the trigger, then I can write pg underscore trigger, right?
Yeah.
If I want to know about the procedure,
Okay.
I'll get all the data about the procedure, right?
Okay.
So this is the thing. And I think pg type or types we have seen. Okay, it may be pg type, right?
Mm.
So pg underscore, and then whatever you want to know about, you can just type it, and that if it exists into the database, and it will be visible to you, right? You can go
Okay.
through it and check it on if you want. And yeah, we are now just directly go to create users. And okay, right now we don't have. Okay, we have employee tables, right? Let's use
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Employee table. Okay, we don't have salary, right? See, I mean, what is a trigger and why do we want to use a trigger, right? So this thing we have completed. So see, one thing is about the procedure and functions, right?
Yeah.
Procedure and functions. See, you have done core Java, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
these are the methods. Cool. These are the methods of database. We have seen the functions already, right? Count
Yeah. Yeah.
asterisk, count was aggregate function, sum is aggregate function.
Maximum, minimum,
Yes, yes, max, min, these are aggregate functions.
average.
Yes, yes, these are the basic ones. Then we have gone through the now as well, right? Now,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Now.
then
Now.
yes, and then we have seen ceiling. We have seen
Ceiling, floor, round.
yes, yes, we have seen a lot, right? Cost
Yeah.
from mathematicals, from the string, concat
Yeah.
and all. We have seen a lot.
Um. Yes.
So those are also are functions, right?
Yeah.
Similar to the Java. Procedures in Postgres don't return anything, right? So in
Yeah.
Postgres, procedure will be something that will not return the data. In other database, there might be two procedures might return something, but in Postgres, procedure don't return anything. It's like a function method, but with void data type, and it's a function like a method in Java, right? It can have any return data type. So
Okay.
what happens? I want to add a trigger. So what will
Okay.
happen? I want to trigger and on, and there should be something that will trigger something. Let's
Yes.
suppose there is a there is a condition where there is an employee, right? ID, name and salary. Cool. Like ID 1, name Ashok, and let's say your salary got incremented from 30,000, and now I want to change it to 80,000, right?
Okay.
So this is the salary. Now, but in the HRMS, HR management system, they need to know your entire salary chain as well, right? That
Okay.
you joined in the 30, then it changed to 80 from X and Y, and then from 80 it changed to 120. Then those things, they want everything, right, from the start to the end. So
Okay.
that's the thing. But how but in this table uh, I won't save this entire data, right? Employee
Hmm.
data should have, if it has the salary, then it should have the max salary, I mean the current salary only, right? So
Okay.
what I can do, salary change, I can create a table, and over I can have the change ID or normal ID, whatever I want, change ID, then employee ID, foreign key, right? Then old salary, new salary, right? And the
Yes.
change date.
Yeah.
Change date, cool. So if I want to enter, then it could be 1, employee ID could be 1, the old salary could be this thing, 30,000, right? It was 30,000.
That.
The new salary will be 80,000, right?
Yeah.
My bad. And the change would be, let's say you get increment on 2021, 1 and 1. Okay, so this data should be saved, right? So what
Hmm.
will happen? I will say that there should be a trigger point, right? So I will say that okay, as soon as this there is an update on the salary column of employee table, right?
Okay.
As soon as there is an update on the salary column of the employee table, please add a row in the salary change table and enter these data, right?
Okay.
So the trigger can only trigger something, right? And in the database, you can trigger or execute or call, right? It will be a method call only. So trigger
Yeah.
is like a method call, and you need to call a method, right? So there are only two options that you can use, right, into the database. So
Yeah.
you in when you write a trigger, you will trigger a function or procedure, and in Postgres, inside a trigger, you need something to return, so you cannot use procedure. You are forced
Okay.
to use function only. Cool. First trigger in Postgres requires you to return something, while in MySQL you can use a procedure as well. Cool. So trigger,
Okay.
and let's say I write a trigger, I write a function, and this function is salary change function.
Mm.
Salary change function, right? So the trigger
Okay.
will call salary change function, right?
Okay.
And the salary change function will insert a row, right? What are the benefits of it? First thing is that if someone will try to come, you can, if you want to update the salary, in your
Mm.
update salary method, you can insert a row in another table as well, right? This thing you can do.
Yes.
But for example, some other developer come, he created another function to update the entire, I mean, he created a common code where you can update the name, salary, and the details as well. So he is not aware that there is some salary change table as well, right? And other people start to use salary change, I mean that latest code. Then no one is updating the salary, right? No one is updating the table in the salary change. Also, if I directly insert the value into the table of salary, or directly update the salary, then
Okay.
also it's not updating over here, right? So by using the trigger, we can change this, because we can make sure that okay, whenever this salary is changed on the salary column has an update on the employee table, we insert a row in salary change table as well, right? If we don't add it, then manually also I can update, right? If there is no trigger, I can make it 90,000, right? But there will be no entry over here, right?
Okay.
Are you getting my point? Hello?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, is it clear?
Yeah. Yeah. It's clear.
Okay, so let's just go down and try to write the code right directly. So where were we? So over here, so we already have one table employees, right? So we are going to change in the employee tables only. So employee has all the things, so insert into public, oh, no, alter, it don't have the salary, right? Alter
Yes.
table public employees, add column and salary, and use decimal 10 into, right? Table altered, and now we have a salary, right?
Yes.
Cool. So now we need to create another table as well, and the table name would be create salary, oh sorry, salary change, right?
Yes. Yes.
And we can use the salary change directly. Okay, so creating table is way too easy, right? We created it in the
Shall be changed.
earlier part, that we can add the change id. It can be a serial. Why serial? Because we don't want to, when we use serial, we don't have to insert it, right? Because
Yes.
it
Yes.
will manage it onwards, or I mean by itself. Then we want employee
Like.
id. We are not
Yes.
adding the foreign key constraint because it makes thing messy a little bit better, but and then old salary, and we have used the salary as decimal, right? So we need to use decimal over here as well. Okay,
Okay.
new salary, decimal 10 and 2, right? And
Yeah.
then we can say the change date. We need to know when the salary is updated, right? Then
Yes.
we can use timestamp. We have been using the date, right? Now we can use the
Mm.
timestamp as well, and we can use default as well, current timestamp. Why? The reason is we don't need to add the value, right? Because it is a default.
Okay.
Alright, we have created the table. We are already pro, right, in creating the table, because
Yes.
we have
Yes.
been creating it. I mean, I'm not telling you why we are doing all this right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is how we have created two tables right now.
Mhm.
So what will happen now? I need to add a function. I'm not going to teach how to write a function. Just let you know a little bit basic because it's not important. Nobody is using it. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
for create table, we use table, right? Create
Yes.
view, we used view. But for this, we used create or replace, right?
Yeah,
Why
okay.
create or replace? Because if the method already exists, so what will I do? It will be the method functionality will be updated, right?
Yeah.
Create or replace. Cool. And then what I need to create? Function, right? If I remove the
Function.
replace, I can only directly say create function and the function name, right? Create
Yeah, yeah.
table name, create view name, create sequence name. So over here also create
Fun-
function and function name. But
Function name.
I have used or replace as well, because in most of the cases if you see the legacy code, you will find this way only. Create or replace. Cool. So
Okay.
over here replace, just add one thing, that if some method was there, so it will replace, right, the implementation of
Okay.
that method, right? And let's name, right? Create table name. So create function name, right? So let's
Yeah.
say log salary and
Changes.
change, and like we do with the method, right?
Mm.
No parameters. Cool.
Okay.
Where then we'll do returns, it is written by trigger, right?
Triggers.
Then we
Okay.
need to mention language that we are going to use it. In this language it will be PGPSQL, PLPGSQL, right?
Okay.
I'm going to write in this way. Then as and then dollar. See, I'm not going to teach you how to write this, but it's
Mm.
easy, right? It's understandable. This
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
$, is the point from where the code that we are about to write will start, right?
Yes, yes.
So there is a curly braces, right, in a Java method.
Yeah,
Inside the
yeah.
curly braces will start the code, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in this Postgres PGPL PGSQL, this is the starting point. $sign is the starting point. We need to, in Java method, we need to end the method also with the closing curly braces,
Uh,
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But this $has nothing, right? So we will add this when we want to end. Cool. So
Mm.
you will see it in the last part also. So now what we'll do begin. This begin
Yeah.
is not begin of the transaction. Please note this. We are starting with begin, so we'll end with end as well, right?
Yes, yes.
Now whatever I'll write will be used. So what I'll do, insert into salary changes, right, is the name of our table.
Yeah.
Then I need to just add employee underscore ID, right? Old salary and
New
new salary,
salary.
new underscore salary. Why I need to enter only three things? Because the reason is ID will
Because
be
one
taken
is
care by,
serial and
yes,
another one is current timestamp.
yes, and by default it will be handled, right?
Yeah.
Then I will add values, right? And the new row will be presented to me with the new. Cool.
Mm.
So new, and I have ID, right?
Mm.
New row, I mean new will be the row that I'm trying to update.
Okay.
And then so the new dot ID will be the employee ID, right? Then
Mm. Okay.
old old dot salary will be the old salary, new dot salary will be the new salary, right? Easy.
Okay. Yeah.
Then we need to end return the new row, because we need to return something, so we can return anything. So we are trying to return new row, and we will do end because we started with begin, right?
Yeah.
So we'll do end as well. And then like I mentioned, that is the starting, so at the end also we need to put these two,
Close.
right? Now trigger does
True.
not,
Does not exist.
okay, trigger I need to write. Cool, no issues. So instead of triggers, trigger need to write. Let's go there and just write trigger. Cool. Function created, right?
Okay.
Now we need to create a trigger, right? So
Yes.
similarly we have created the function, so create function. Now what should I write if I want to create a trigger?
Create trigger name.
Yeah, easy, right? This
Yes.
thing is the easiest. Database is the easiest thing. There is nothing easier than the database if you are a developer, right? And what I have mentioned, I want to make sure that whenever the salary column of the employee table
Is
is
updated.
updated, right? So
Yeah.
I'm saying create a trigger, and what I need to do after update of salary column, right? After
Yeah.
update of salary column on which table? Employees,
Employee table.
right?
Yeah.
And I need to do it for each row, right?
Yeah.
Because every row will represent an employee, right? So
Yeah.
for each row, for every employee, I have to do that, right? So that's why for each row, and then I need to add the condition when
Yeah.
and why the condition, right? The condition is we are adding the condition. We can add it without a condition as well, but
Yeah.
there is a one condition over where we don't need to update. If I update the salary with the same salary,
Mm.
then there should not be any log, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the only thing that we will write over here. When the new dot salary, new dot salary, salary, okay, okay, no. Where the old dot salary
Mm.
is distinct, and instead of, I mean, it is good. I mean, it's case insensitive, but we should write it as, right, because it's
Yeah.
better to understand. So if it's distinct from new dot salary, right?
Mm.
Only when old salary is distinct from new salary. If old and new salary are same, then don't do anything, right?
Mm.
Then when this thing happened, what I need to do? I need to execute my function, right? So I'll say
Yes.
execute function. Which function? Log
Um,
salary
log
changes.
cell change.
There might be a chance that the spelling is wrong, but not great. Cool. So we have, and now we will get the data in employees table.
Okay.
Trigger is available here, right? So now we have
Mm.
the data that okay, trigger log salary change after update of salary on employees for each row. Only when old salary is different from the new salary, we will execute the procedure. See, over here it's writing procedure, right? Not function. We will
Yes.
execute the procedure log salary change, right?
Yeah.
So let's try to see data in our employees table from public employees. This is the data, right? So let's
Yes.
start from public salary changes and
No data.
empty, right? So
Yes.
let's try to update
Insert.
salary, update into on update, right? Okay, let's insert it first, right? Because
Yeah.
we need to see also that on insert is not happening, right? Because we have written on update only.
Yes.
Insert into public users for name, let's say Ashok, Muli, Raju, Nikhila, let's say Nikhila,
Nikhil.
and then manager ID, let's say 1, and salary, let's say 80,000.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay, public user 4, syntax error at 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, values I need to write shit. Values, cool. Okay, null constraint for what? Phone number. Okay. Okay, shit. I'm trying to insert into the users
Using
here.
users. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Employees. Cool. My bad, spelling is wrong. Employees. Cool. Insert it, right? Now if we
Yes.
try to see the employees table, now the Nikhila is there with 80,000 rupees of salary. But if we try to see the employee salary changes, now it's empty, right?
Yeah.
So let's again go and check the salary change, empty, right? Now
Mm.
select the employees, the data, right? Now we will update the salary of Nikhila. Update public
Public dot
employees
employees
set
set
salary.
rate is equal to
Let's make 1,20,000.
1,20,000.
Instead 1,000 lakh. Okay, cool.
1,20,000.
Right?
So where
Where ID equals to 4,
it
right?
is equal to 4.
Updated.
Yes.
Check the salary, updated.
Okay.
Now check salary changes from
Yes.
80,000 to 1,20,000, right?
Yes.
So this is how we write the triggers. Why we write the triggers nowadays? No. Why? What's the reason? Because there are very limited scenarios where we can use the trigger first. Another thing
Oh.
is, uh, triggers were used earlier. Triggers, functions, these were used earlier when we wanted triggers to use. That's why we used to write the functions, I mean procedures and functions.
Mm.
And
Oh.
earlier when there was a monolithic architecture, right? Then at that particular time we used to do this. But
Okay.
now when we have a microservice architecture where the every table will be in the different microservice or in the different database, and the instance of the
Okay.
database will also be different, then over there there are very limited scope of this thing. That's why these things are almost obsolete right now, right? No one asks you in the interview, no one asks you in the interviews, no one asks you to write this thing into the production environment also, because Hibernate has taken over, right? So the basic things of joins and normal SQL queries people don't know. So this is the very, I mean, in-depth thing that is also almost obsolete. Cool. But the thing is, internally we are using it, right? We are internally using functions, right?
Yes, yes.
Because we are using the functions, already created functions we are using. So in similar way, we are using the triggers as well internally, because whenever we
Yes.
add the index in the next session that will be going of index, whenever we write an index, whenever we insert a query, and whenever we execute the insert query in a table, what eventually happens, as soon as we insert a data, then a trigger will be a trigger will start the data writing into the index file as well, right? Because we need to
Yeah.
update the index as well. So triggers and functions, even though no one asks it into the in the interviews, and we don't have to use them in the production environment, like for years I haven't used in mine, for even, I mean, for how many years I've been working, I have never created on my own any trigger or any procedures. And this thing I know just because I had to work with some code over there. They have used legacy code was there, and over there they have used some procedures. So that's why
Okay.
I learned this. Otherwise, I have never used it in my entire life as well, right? But it's good to know if you know something, right? But the
Yeah.
thing is, but it's internally used. It's not obsolete. Internally, it's being
Mm.
used, but in real life scenarios, we'll never use it. So this is the thing. Let's end the session.